All right, Shalom, all praises, honor, glory goes to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to you, fellow Akim. Pushing out this word in true sincerity, Brother Kanak, doing an interesting lesson. I'm gonna make this lesson quick due to the battery on my phone. I'm not around a charger right now. In transit, let me just jump right into the scripture. And basically, I just want to speak about how the Lord is going to be with us, and for us not to fear any of these things that are going to come to the planet Earth. Because the scriptures speak about, a time like no time since there was a man placed on the planet Earth. Okay, and we see these things approaching like famine. There's going to be a famine in the land very quickly. All right, it's right around the corner. It's going to be distress of nations, right around the corner. These things are already picking up. So as those who believe in Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, the Lord told us through these scriptures that He was going to be with us. Okay. This is Isaiah 41:13. It says, "For I, the Lord, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, thy power, will hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, fear not, I will help thee." So we have help, right? This world doesn't have help. When these things come to pass, and these things will come to pass, and we're seeing them come to pass right before our eyes. Okay, we can speak about all these different things, these plagues, the famine is coming. People are stockpiling guns and bullets. People are hoarding food. There's a so-called shortage on food. There was reports of beef prices have went up. Different of these food plants, these meat plants have shut down. So when these people can't get their favorite foods, they're gonna freak out. And people are going to go to the point to where, like it talks about 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, of killing each other because of the lack of bread. Okay, but we are not to fear none of these things that are going to come to the earth. We don't know how the Lord is going to do it exactly, how the Lord is going to take care of us. He can have food fall from heaven, or He can have it to where we fall into a situation where there's a stockpile of food, or brothers help out each other. We don't know. What we do know is that the Lord is going to help us through all these situations. Verse 14, "Fear not, thou worm Jacob, because we are as a worm on the earth." A worm doesn't have any defense mechanisms. All a worm does is moves bottom soil to top soil. Okay, it's totally defenseless, right? But see, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, he's going to protect us in that day. "And ye men of Israel," so this is directly speaking to the men of Israel, you Israelites. "I will help thee, said the Lord Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel." Because we have a Redeemer for all these things that are going to happen. The majority of the world, they lived in pleasure their whole life. They were, living it up, man. Esau, Edom, the rest of the nations, 2/3 of our people, they were living it up. No cares in the world. Now things are going to change. The scriptures say that my servants shall eat and ye shall be hungry. So don't worry about how it's going to happen. Of course, make smart moves, smart decisions. If you could, when you go to the grocery store, even Apostle Elder Tahar was speaking about that. If you could buy a couple extra things, do that. Don't throw out common sense. But ultimately, it's going to be Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi that's going to be the one who helps us. Okay. Let me just bring out this scripture. Give me a second. We're just going to close. Like I said, I just wanted to make this really short and quick. I want to say that's Job. Yep. Job 5:17. "Behold, happy is the man whom the Most High correcteth. Therefore despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty." And we've been chastised. Okay, this whole American experience, Babylonian experience, us being under our enemies, that is a chastisement. yet we acknowledge our faults. The hopeful elect, we acknowledge our faults and came back to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, with a contrite spirit, with a weeping heart. And the Lord, he has accepted that. Okay. So as his servants, we are not to despise that chastening of the Lord, because that chastening of the Lord is what's building us up, our minds, to be stable in these evil times. Okay. And you already see that these people are already freaking out, okay, with this little scare of this pandemic. So how much more when there's actually people dying in the streets? How much more when Esau Edom, he really really pushes his martial law? Because we're more in what they call a medical martial law or a soft martial law. These are some terms that people are throwing out there, where it's not mandatory. It's really the things that they're pushing are not mandatory, but people are adhering to these things because of the fear of death. It says, verse 18, he maketh sore and bindeth up. So the Lord, he's binding us up right now, the elect. He woundeth, and his hand maketh whole, and he's making the house of Israel whole again, starting with the elect. Okay. In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. See, let me just bring out that Isaiah I quoted earlier, but the main purpose of that verse I just read was, from famine he shall redeem thee from death. Okay. So when famine actually hits, and we're in the beginning stages of famine. Give me a second. We're in the beginning stages of famine, in which maybe only the haves can, those who have that disposable income can buy the food. It's going to come a point where you're going to have inflation, where the little money that you have is not going to be able to buy so many goods, or maybe a loaf of bread if that's there, maybe some eggs if that's there. But it's going to come a point to where none of those things are going to be there. See? And people are going to do what? They're going to be going in and out of these houses with the sword, or which is the gun, these different killing instruments to kill people for food. That's how bad it's going to get. Okay? Yet Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, he's going to deliver those who trust in him from that. Okay, because that's a horrible death, for you to starve, your children. You see your children starving, and there's nothing that you can do, to the point to where you're looking at your children as food. Okay, so that's coming. You want to be delivered from that. Let me just bring this last scripture out and I'll be done, and we'll just wrap it up. Like I said earlier, I didn't want to make it long. I was just meditating, watching certain videos, apostle elders, certain brothers, seeing different things that are, basically taking place in this world. All these things that the scriptures actually tell us that were going to happen in a certain time, the last days. The scriptures say that, was that Habakkuk 2, in the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, for it shall not tarry. So these things are not tarrying, even though, the majority of the people's eyes are closed. Our eyes are open to these things that are happening. Verse 13, Isaiah 65 and 13. Therefore thus said the Lord power, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. So these are the times that we're coming into. So we are not to worry, and we are to cast out all that fear and doubt. Asking the Lord to take those things out of our heart and out of our which is our mind. Because the Lord will surely deliver his men and surely feed his servants in that time. All right, we're not going to go through that starvation process, which there can be a certain point in time where you're not eating, you might not be drinking it yet. You have to still have it in your mind that the Lord is going to deliver you from that. That's just your trial. Certain brothers going to have to go through their trial, and we've been building up to that day. We've been fasting, going several days without food, afflicting ourselves. So when that time comes, we won't freak out. Because most people are going to freak out just, after a couple of hours of not eating. Not even understanding the body can go several days without eating. It's just a lot of it's all in the mind. Of course, you're going to go through certain detox symptoms, tiredness and fatigue. You're going to be thinking about food a lot, but, you can survive through those things. And the Lord, He's building our spirit up to be able to withstand those things, which these people are not going to withstand. A couple meals, maybe 1 or 2, 3 days without eating. These people are going to be ready to, kill. And they've been addicted to these fast food restaurants. They've been eating nothing but, their favorite comfort foods. So what happens when that comfort gets taken away from them? You already start to see how comforts have been taken away from these people, and these people are sighing, they're mourning. They can't go to the club. These women can't go out and dress up. They can't, they can't be in that spirit of folly anymore because of the conditions that are happening around the world with this lockdown. So things are only going to get worse, intensify, and we are to not worry about none of these things that are going to come to the earth, but prepare our minds, our spirit to for these things to come. And the scriptures do that with of course starting with prayer. So I pray that you brothers were edified with a small lesson. I want to give all praises, honor, glory to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Till next time, shalom.